is it appropriate to say happy World Press Freedom Day or not? Because does it feel like a happy commemoration? Is it a celebration, a commemoration? What exactly is it for you?
Happy Press Imprisonment Day.
That's how you describe it?
Yes, in a country where the police consider journalists cyber criminals, there's no other way to put it. Yeah. Between 1986 and 2003, when Bola Tinubu became president, 1,034 Nigerian journalists had been detained. By the end of the first year of Tinubu's reign, 28 journalists had been detained. That figure is equal to the annual average of the last 38 years. More than half of that happened under the military regime, which tells you that in a democracy, press freedom is just as bad or even worse than what it was in the military regime. So, press imprisonment.
Is this a flaw in the mindset of those in government that journalists or journalism is against them, when in actual fact it's described as a fourth estate of the realm? So if you have a table that is standing on 3 legs, journalism is meant to be the 4th leg that democracy, governance stands on. So essentially it's helping governance. So
you've actually answered it. It's the flawed mentality by people in public office. The popular belief is that if you're a journalist, you're anti-government.
Are we anti-government?
Of course we are not.
In fact, we are pro-government in that sense, good governance.
The journalist wants a good society, a better society. Now, when government officials consider journalists anti-government, then it means that there's a disparity in the wants of the two groups. It means the people in government don't necessarily want a better society. They just want to fill their pockets. They want to push their personal agenda. And they want to advance their political careers. They are there for selfish interest. And then they find people whose targets are not exactly what they want. If both parties want a better society, then we should be able to work together. If I go undercover to expose criminals trafficking Nigerians from Lagos to Burkina Faso, and the government doesn't want Nigerians trafficked to Burkina Faso, the government should want to work with me. If I expose people selling babies under the table, the government should want to work with me. The government should stop seeing me as their enemy. But that's not my experience. If we expose corruption and the government understands the gravity of corruption, understands the public benefits that get eroded when funds get stolen, they should want to work with us. So when government officials, don't want to work with journalists, consider journalists enemies, always want to arrest us, want to harass us, want to intimidate us, want to muzzle us, want to scare. There's a lot of scaremongering. And that's the part of it that is the most worrisome for me, that there's a lot of scaremongering. And then you have people saying, who have young graduates, you want to become a journalist, you want the government to keep going after you, you want to end up in prison, in police cell. There's a lot of scaremongering. And then you find that it's people then have to think long and hard. Young people have to think long and hard about whether they want to become journalists or not.
When you consider how the Cybercrime Act is being used, is not being used just against the press, but also other citizens who are practicing citizens journalism, how do you think that has impacted on the psyche of the people?
So I really don't think that the problem with the Cybercrime Act is the amendment. I know that there was a recent amendment. It's just the interpretation. The police, working in cahoots, mostly with corrupt politicians, would always find a way, to interpret what has been published as a cybercrime. It's just semantics. So you amend it, you use, a different set of words, they come back, and it's still that you've published something that is injurious to another person, But the law is clear. When that happens, you go to court. It's clear, And I hope there'll be time to talk about SLAP as well, strategic lawsuits against public participation, But even without going to court, the cybercrime law is basically, it exists, just to hound journalists.
So you see the case of VDM's arrest was one of those heavily scary moments where, as it was reported, he was whisked away in front of his mother and he was beaten as well. And that is to instill fear, because this is my take about, this is one take I have about what they did and why they did what they did. Until we see the actual prosecution, then we can conclude that EFCC were right. But for now, my thinking is the fact that if you look at the biggest voice in Africa today, in terms of political activism and citizen journalism, VDM ranks atop of it. And to take that voice and to hound him down and to sort of stain his credibility, then you want to whitewash or sort of blacken his image. And all because of what? 2027, I would say. And I'll tell you why I think it's 2027. Because VDM is one of the most popular person you can think of in terms of Nigeria's youth activism. And imagine that in 2027, because he has said it severally, or he has said it several times that he doesn't like the APC as a political party. And he didn't vote for Bola Tinubu as well. So if he comes out and says to his Rattel gang and Rattel family, and there are a lot of them all around the world and in Nigeria, we're not going to vote for APC 2027. Please tell your family members we need to galvanize. What do you think will happen? And he tells the people, defend your vote. What do you think will happen in 2027? Exactly my point. So, but let's break down this issue of the press being hounded and politicians stealing. Bola Tinubu, who's been claimed to be a Democrat, under his administration, according to FISAYA, the first 12 months of his administration, it totaled about the same amount as military, even more, in terms of arresting and jailing pressmen using the police. So when the pressmen speak up, they arrest them. But when our politicians steal, they don't. So I'm going to read out a few of these current serving politicians and former governors or people who have been in politics who have stolen. And most especially, I want you to listen for the ones who are currently serving, who have been alleged to have stolen or siphoned public funds. Number one on the list is Godswill Akpabio, the current Senate president of the APC party. The man has allegation of 108 billion fraud case, which the EFCC was investigating, but they had to put on hold since he became Senate president. In a normal country, Akpabio wouldn't have contested for election. The next one is Abdullahi Adamu, the former APC chairman and former governor of Nasarawa State. The allegation is 15 billion misappropriation as governor, 15 billion. The third on the list, currently serving minister under Bola Tinubu, David Umahi, the Minister of Works and the former governor of Ebonyi State, also of APC. What was his allegation? 400 billion naira phantom project. This is from the Ebonyi State funds. Now, a phantom project is a project that on paper you think it exists, but in reality does not exist. So David Umahi has been alleged to have, stolen 400 billion of Ebonyi State's fund, but is currently serving as a minister under Bola Tinubu. The next one on the line is Bello Matawale, the former governor of Zamfara State, currently the Minister of State for Defense. What was his allegation? 770 billion naira fraud. EFCC investigating, but they have to stop. He is the current Minister of State for Defense. And the one that we all know, Yahya Bello, the former governor of the Kogi State, and also APC, 80.2 billion, whom EFCC declared wanted in 2024. But that man is still roaming the street free. The next on the line is Hope Uzodimma, the current governor of Imo State. 106 billion missing state funds. This is from the Imo State pension. That scandal is still ongoing. But you cannot investigate him because the one is under immunity as a sitting governor. Now the next one is Chimaroke Nnamani, the senator from Enugu State, but the former governor, but obviously from PDP. 5.3 billion corruption case, which was dropped after a political realignment. He moved away from one political party to another, and his case was dropped. Remember that thing that Adam Soshomole said? Come, your sins will be forgiven. The next one is Orji Uzo Kalu, the former governor of Abia State, who's also a senator, currently serving senator. He was convicted, and later the conviction was overturned, and the case was 7.6 billion fraud case, which the Supreme Court controversially freed. They freed him, overturned the case. You can see how our judiciary is complicit. The next one is the Abu Rashid Bawa, and the former EFCC chairman. You know that young chap? Now still under probe anyway, but his own case was 40 billion naira fraud case. And then the last one of all these 10 people is Jibrin Isa, the senator from Kogi State, a 10 billion naira contract scam. He's still under EFCC radar. These people are the people, the pressmen that you and I, citizens, are calling out to say, fix corruption to fix Nigeria. But how do you fix corruption to fix Nigeria when the people that are working for you and with you are all going through one corruption case after another? And you being the president, your case is a case where nobody even know who you really are. But a lot of cases are ranking around your identity. How can you tell me that this same governor, this same president can fix Nigeria? That's why I say Bola Tinubu cannot fix Nigeria. First of all, he does not have the capacity and the strength to do it because he's now not as strong as he used to be 20 years ago. He's not. Age tells. Nigeria is a very complex country. You need agility, strength to, to to go through the rigors of being a president, not just the motion of just going to France for 19 days and don't care about what happened to go and rest. Not that. You need strength. You need to be agile. You need to be movable. Get up, be robust, jump. People can see and say, that's my president, he's agile. Bola Tinubu is not there anymore. But apart from those agility stuff that I mentioned, it's about the integrity of the person and how the person got into power. How Bola Tinubu got into power is still a case for Nigerians as well. But above all, as a person, the corruption cases around him, the fraud cases around him, the drug cases around him, his identity case, and then to make it worse, the people in his cabinet, the people serving as ministers for him, the number 3 citizen of the nation, who is doing all of Bola Tinubu's bidding, all have a corruption cases hanging around their neck. So how do you fix Nigeria? This is why you do everything to make sure that Nigerians don't speak up, because it does not look well on you. When the international community see that we're talking about you, it does not look well. So because when you go to represent the country, they're looking at a man who is filled with fraud, who's corrupt. And they're looking at Nigeria and saying, that's why they say Nigeria is a fantastically corrupt country. Because of what? The leaders are corrupt. The people whose image are supposed to be projecting Nigeria forward are all, imagined in corruption. So how do you make Nigeria work? You can see why. That's why I say they knew what they were doing with Very Dark Man when they arrested him, because they know that they need to threaten him, and they have to do that in front of his mother. In doing that in front of his mother, it puts fear in him. That's why people are asking why he's not speaking, he's still quiet. It would take time to sit back and reassign and realign as well and see how he carry on with his work. But as a people, we must keep speaking up, because there's so many of us outside speaking up and calling this government out for corruption that this government is, for the poor governance that it has. If they can be arresting pressmen, people who are doing their jobs, what do you think they would do to ordinary Nigerians who are just speaking up and saying enough of corruption? All we want is all this money is stolen by these politicians, just 10 politicians, amounting to close to 700 billion, 10 politicians. To steal this amount of money that would have built schools, hospitals, roads, put pipe-on water into our house, basic amenities, build housings for the citizen. Look at the schools our children are going. Dead. But yet these guys are stealing so much more. For David Umaya, for example, how would you spend 400 billion? You can't spend it in this lifetime, or you can't spend it in the next lifetime. How? To steal to give to another generation that will waste it? While your people suffer? Outside of politics, these guys have no other relevance. That's why they keep stealing and stealing. So again, you can see why we're talking. That's why you have to sit up. Make sure 2027 counts. You do your own bit. I am doing my own bit with this content so that I can sensitize more people to say, investigate these politicians to make sure you don't steal elections for them. We have to stop election rigging by ourselves because we cannot depend on these guys who got in there by election rigging to stop the election rigging, because if they stop, they will not be able to go back. Again, let us know what you think about this, and then put your comments in the comment section. And if you're meeting this content for the first time, like, share, and subscribe. And if you've been following us and you've not subscribed, please do so. As always, I will catch you up in the next video. God bless you. Bye-bye for now.